There exists in every generation a curious folly. It is the moment a person comes to discover that for years, perhaps for decades, they have walked the world quite certain of things that were never true at all. Most will go to their graves before they ever arrive at such a moment. This folly has a name. They call it the Dunning-Kruger effect. It is the chasm between what one truly knows and what one believes they know. The less a person understands of a subject, the more certain they become that they have it figured out entirely. It wears the costume of clarity. It feels like seeing through the fog. It carries the conviction that the scholars and the experts have all overlooked some plain and simple truth. And around such a person gather others of the same mind. They nod, they applaud. The chorus swells. The certainty hardens into iron. They cease to ask questions, for they have every answer in their pocket. They do not know what they do not know, and so they fill the empty space with confidence. Most remain there. They depart this world without ever discovering they were mistaken. But every so often, a soul breaks ranks. They stumble upon evidence they cannot wave away. They sit with it. They confess it out loud before all who can hear. They lose their standing. They lose their living. They lose the regard of those who held them dearer when they spoke with conviction. And then they begin the long climb, up from the comfortable valley of certainty, up through study and doubt, and nights spent dismantling everything they once held to be true. They climb toward the truth and nothing else. When at last they reach the other side, something has changed. They no longer perform. They think. They grow sharper. They grow harder to deceive. It is the rarest act a person can perform. To be wrong, to admit it, and to begin again.
Good morning. How is everyone doing today? Jeepers, good freaking morning. Happy to have you in, happy to be here. What a day. What a week. Who all we got in here? I know we got Jeepers. Welcome, welcome, welcome in. Sorry for being a little MIA for the last probably week or so now. I have this thing where when I get a new idea, I go into like build mode and I kind of have to slow everything else down and just get out this, creative spurt and just be done with it. And that's what happened. And we're going to talk about it today. We're going to talk about what I built because it actually gets launched or it goes on sale tomorrow. And I'm so excited about it. But first, as always, let's check out some recalls. See if we got anything for the day. I'm assuming we haven't because I haven't gotten any notifications yet, but I also haven't checked our page. Let's see here. Okay. Oh no, we have something. What? Okay, this is interesting. So Steve's Real Food has been recalled because it may contain low levels of thiamine or vitamin B1, specifically their freeze-dried chicken recipe in dog and cat. Now, if you'll notice, This is nuts. So right here, you have Steve's Real Food. The company name is Go Raw LLC. Look at this. Go Raw LLC. Go Raw LLC. So we've had 3 separate instances. They're all kind of related, it seems. Because we have a cat food recall from them back in February for low vitamin B. We have another recall, or maybe an expansion recall, on February 26th for low thiamine, same thing. And then we have this today, low thiamine. What is going on? Go Raw LLC is expanding its February 17th, 2026 recall to include an additional lot of freeze-dried chicken recipe product due to potentially low levels of vitamin B1. Vitamin B1 is an essential water-soluble vitamin required for normal carbohydrate metabolism and neurologic function in both dogs and cats. While thiamine deficiency can occur in either species, cats are considered more susceptible due to their higher dietary requirement for thiamine and limited capacity to compensate for inadequate intake. Okay, this is just what can happen. I wonder if Steve's Real Food has said anything about this. This is crazy. Here's what's interesting. Outside of the fact that they have nothing on their website talking about this recall, which is very concerning. We used to use a formulation software called Animal Diet Formulator, and it's very popular. Many vets use it. I'm pretty sure many commercial companies use it. And as we were using it for, a year or two and promoting our recipes, I had a couple veterinary colleagues reach out to me and say, hey, we have kind of been talking amongst ourselves, and we have some concerns with Animal Diet Formulator. We have some questions that we have asked them that we can't get answered. And it's things like, hey, with your software, do you ever create a recipe and then send it to the lab to verify that your software is still accurate and spitting out good results? Or what was the other one? Or how do you actually compensate for cooking with supplements? Like if you put a supplement into a homemade diet recipe and then you cook it, how are you compensating for the nutrient loss that occurs there? What evidence are you using? And they couldn't get any answers from him. So they sent these questions to me. I also reached out to Animal Diet Formulator. This was back in 2025, I'm pretty sure, in December. I could have that wrong. It might be a month or two later, but I'm pretty sure it was back in December that I sent these questions. It is now June 9th. I still have not gotten answers to any of these questions, and I've been passed off to a different person now. So I don't anticipate getting any answers. Now, if you look up who owns Steve's Real Food, founded by Steve Brown, right? Owned by Nicole Lindsley now, but founded by Steve Brown. Who owns Animal Diet Formulator? Animal Diet Formulator is owned by the Royal Animal Health University. Rahu is an educational and developmental organization co-founded by renowned holistic veterinarian Dr. Barbara Royal. The pet nutrition software was originally developed by nutritional researcher Steve Brown. So here's my question. We have two things going on right now. We have a formulation software where many experts have concerns with its validity and efficacy and safety. And then we have a raw food brand who has recalled multiple dog and cat products for low vitamin B. And both of them were founded by Dr. Steve Brown. So I guess the inevitable question becomes, Is the Quest recall and the Steve's Real Food recall for low vitamin B levels an issue with Animal Diet Formulator as a software? Now, look, I don't know if they're using Animal Diet Formulator, but if Steve Brown started Animal Diet Formulator, a pet nutrition software that allows you to formulate commercial diets, and has a raw food brand, I think it's fair to guess that he's probably using Animal Diet Formulator. I don't know. I'm concerned about this because this is like an ongoing thing. And then talk about transparency. You go to Steve's Real Food. There's nothing on here about any of the recalls. You can go to their food safety page. Nothing about their recalls. So I don't know. I'm a little sketched out by this. I don't know what's going on, but I don't like it. What are your thoughts? Anyone else find this concerning? Am I crazy for drawing that connection? Let's go read some more about this. The expanded recall product was distributed through retail stores in the following states. We're in Colorado. The recalled product is sold in beige, zip-locked 1.25-pound packages with a maroon stripe. There's the UPC code if anybody in here feeds Steve's Real Food. Product safety and nutritional adequacy remain our highest priorities. All current Steve's Real Food products are being manufactured using updated formulations that include the new vitamin premix. And these are the only formulations currently being distributed to retailers and consumers. As part of our investigation, Steve's Real Food worked closely with distributors and retailers throughout our supply chain and confirmed that the affected lot is no longer present in distribution channels. While we do not believe this product remains available for purchase, we initiated this voluntary recall out of an abundance of caution. During our investigation, we gained valuable insights into the complexities of vitamin B1 stability and analytical testing. Thiamine is a sensitive nutrient, and testing results can vary significantly, even in products formulated with elevated levels. We are continuing to work with the U.S. Food and Drug Administration and industry experts to better understand these testing methodologies and support ongoing research. While additional testing and evaluation are still underway, we believe there are important scientific questions that warrant further study. We remain committed to following the data, maintaining transparency, and continuing improving our understanding of this essential nutrient. We remain committed to maintaining transparency. Well, when you go to your website, you don't mention anything about these recalls. That doesn't seem very transparent. Yeah, Teacup. It's going down. I'm calling them.
Real Food. Our office hours are Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 Central Time. If you know your party's extension, you can dial it at any time or press 9 for the dial by name directory. To reach customer service, press 0. To repeat this, you've reached Steve's Real Food customer service. Please hold for the next available agent. All of our agents are busy assisting other customers. Please leave a message and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Okay, well, they list their support phone number on the only press release that has actually gone out, and you can't get a hold of anyone. So I guess we'll never know. It's sure getting harder and harder knowing what foods to feed that aren't super expensive. So frustrating. I totally agree, Angela. It's hard to live in a world where there's so much emphasis on marketing and trying to convince you that a food is right for your dog instead of companies just actually being transparent and just telling you the facts and letting you decide on your own. Do you feel the streams have been working for you guys since it's a new bit of content you're creating? Teacup, it's hard to say like what you mean by work, but I would say my biggest goal with these live streams is to just develop a deeper connection with our community, and for myself to just continue practicing being a content creator, practice speaking and presenting and all of those things. So if that's my goal, I would definitely say it's working. Expense is why I changed over to Pro Plan. I still haven't found anything that meets all the requirements he needs while not costing me more than $100 a month. Yeah, I feel you, Teacup. I feel like even for our dogs, it's probably like $200 to $300 a month to feed them Purina Pro Plan. Still, that's not cheap at all. I mean, cheaper than fresh and homemade food, but not by a lot. What does everyone feed in here? What are you feeding? Homemade? What brand are you feeding? We actually just switched our dogs over in the last couple weeks to fully homemade. They were eating like a mix of kibble and homemade, and so far so good. Had a really good transition with them all. But yeah, goddamn, that Steve's Real Food recall is kind of wild. It just keeps going. They're talking about all these new things that they're doing, but the first recall was announced in February, and then there was just an expansion yesterday. We started feeding Origin, then to Nutrisource Element for a few years. We used Viva as a topper for a while, but it got too expensive. Now the Complete Essentials line of Pro Plan. The Complete Essentials line is like just their main line of Pro Plan, right? Still working on trying to find something my dog will just eat, trying Purina Pro Plan. What have you already tried, Jeepers? What have you tried that they didn't like? We had a guy, Mario, email us recently. Let me pull it up here. I can't show you because I can't dox him and blast his email address to everyone, but he had tried so many different foods. Yeah, he had tried Purina HA, Royal Canin, Hills, raw food, wet food, and the list goes on. He eventually landed on homemade food as something that really worked for him, but yeah, it's wild how like you can go through so many different options trying to find the best thing and just keep running into issues. I have heard over and over again, it's better to switch up proteins and brands so the dog doesn't become intolerant. So is it okay to feed some foods that don't meet full requirements without harm? Angela, what do you mean by don't meet full requirements without harm? I definitely think it's okay to mix up your proteins, absolutely. We don't have any hard research that says variety feeding is like going to result in better health outcomes, but I don't think it's going to be harmful in any capacity. Definitely went through the rabbit hole of giving the best and avoiding the big three, but eventually Purina Pro Plan was our final stop after we checked the protein level of Nutrisource Element. Yeah, that's really interesting, Teacup. I'm kind of with you where it's like a lot of people look at us and they're like, oh, you sold out to Purina Pro Plan. And it's like, no, because I guess if you're saying we sold out to Purina Pro Plan, then we sold out to every fresh food company that we ever used and every air-dried food company. It's like you kind of just keep learning more. And then sometimes when you try a food that you don't think will work and it works for your dog, you're like, well, how am I going to not feed my dog this food that's working just because somebody on the internet said it's bad? That's what I even tell people about our own dog food reviews. For example, we gave Open Farm a C. But if you feed your dog Open Farm and they're doing really well on it, don't let some random guy on the internet give a dog food a grade and then it changes everything about your lifestyle that's currently working. You got to do what works for your individual dog. We're here to provide, evidence-based reviews and try to give people the what am I trying to say? The information to make an informed decision. But you got to do what you got to do. Stellan Chewy's, Ollie's, Fresh Pet, Honest Kitchen, and an assortment of Wellness, Various Blue. She's exhausting. Oh my gosh, jeepers. Have you tried the Purina Pro plan yet? Like, has it worked, or are you about to try it? It was way too high. We're talking about the protein level. It was way too high. My vet was so surprised it was that high. She was never against our food, but she's been a great partner in finding a good food that keeps him fit. Yeah, I love that, Teacup. At the end of the day, like, Kenzie and I were literally having this conversation last night about how we're moving into such a season of simplicity where it's like our dogs are just going to get a complete and balanced food that's made by an expert and maybe one or two targeted supplements, and that's it. And I currently feel very good about that. I felt very good about it when it was Purina Pro Plan. Because that's the thing, too, is like when we transitioned into the holistic space, we were feeding Purina Pro Plan at the time, right? And then we saw a podcast from Rodney and Karen and basically just got fully convinced. And the wild thing was our dogs were not doing bad at that time. They were not doing bad on Purina Pro Plan. We weren't one of those cases where you kind of try everything, your dog's not doing well, you come to the end of the ropes, then you try raw food and all of a sudden have this random magic success story. It was like our dogs have done pretty well on most foods. The switching was purely somebody convinced me that I was harming my dog, and so, oh God, I need to switch kind of move. She will eat it. I'm trying the sport that's beef and bison. She seems to like that flavor mix, so still seeing how to make her eat it consistently. Yeah, jeepers, that's one of the hardest things with dogs is like if you have a picky dog, just trying to find a food that works can be exhausting. So I wish you nothing but good luck. Okay, friends, so not one of the reasons, the only reason I was gone all of last week is because Kenzie and I have built something very new and very exciting, and I want to talk to you about it. And this is specifically for the people that are interested in homemade food, but they're afraid to do it wrong. They're afraid to give their dog nutrient deficiencies, and they really just want somebody to walk them through it and just kind of hold their hand and take them step by step and show them the process. And this is called the first batch. So the first batch is a 4-week cohort where we teach you to safely transition your dog to homemade food. Now, I'm going to show you this video, and it gives you a little bit more information about what we're actually offering here. Homemade dog food. Most homemade dog food is worse for your dog than kibble. And I know how that sounds coming from a guy who feeds his dog homemade food, but the research is hard to argue with. UC Davis looked at 200 different dog food recipes from blogs and books and other online sources, even some written by veterinarians, and only 1 in about 20 was actually complete and balanced. The rest were missing something that a dog actually needs, and missing something that a dog needs is not as harmless as it sounds. There's a 2024 case report of 4 puppies that were fed only raw meat, no supplements, no bones or calcium source. All 4 of them had bones too weak to hold them. 2 of them fractured and had to be put down. The other 2 were switched to a complete and balanced commercial diet and fully recovered. But the problem was not homemade food itself. Homemade food can be a wonderful thing to feed dogs. The problem is doing it without a recipe that's actually complete and balanced. And I know how easy it is to get wrong because I almost did the same thing to my own dogs. About 5 years ago, my wife and I decided that we were going to start cooking for our dogs at home, especially our dog Harper. and we were gonna do it right. We were not gonna cut corners here. So we found a recipe online and we went all in. We drove an hour to Denver to get these fancy ingredients. We spent $200 and spent the entire day, like 4 hours in the kitchen preparing these meals. And when we were finally finished and set this beautiful bowl down in front of Harper, she looked at it, took one sniff, and walked away. I was devastated. At no point in my brain did I think there was a world where I was going to put in all of this time and energy and money and she wasn't going to like it. And I just kind of stood there. I was exhausted. I was out $200 and I didn't really know what to do. And that's when it hit me. I was doing all of the things I was supposed to be doing. I was putting the time, the effort, the energy into it, the love into it, and it still wasn't enough. Because effort is not what makes a balanced meal. So I went looking for answers and I found the research that I just told you about. Recipe after recipe after recipe, missing something that if a dog goes without long enough, they're going to run into health issues. And literally the only ones that were coming back complete and balanced were written by literal veterinary nutritionists. And so that was the missing piece. It was never about how hard I tried. It was about the recipe I was using. And here's the hard part that nobody told me. Once you start with a recipe that's actually built right, the hard part is done for you. You're not guessing, you're literally just following a recipe. And it doesn't take an entire day in the kitchen. It doesn't take a nutrition degree or a culinary degree. And I know a lot of that sounds a little too simple to be true based on everything I just told you. So don't take it from me. I want to introduce you to Mario and Vinny. Before he found us, Mario spent years on this, switching Vinny from different food to different food, trying pretty much any different type of food that you could think of. He wanted to cook for Vinny, but he was terrified to actually do it. And I'll let him tell the rest because he said it better than I ever could. I've been struggling for years, changing his diet over and over. We've been through every food you can think of, from Purina to Royal Canin to Hills, raw, wet, and the list goes on. I was always too scared to jump into home-cooked meals because I could never figure out how to balance it, even with all the websites and articles. You made it so simple. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And the guy who was too afraid to make a single meal for his dog, he's now rotating between different recipes of ours, picking different proteins, adding more variety to make Vinny's diet more interesting. Cooking for Vinny went from something Mario dreaded to just a part of his week now. And Mario didn't have some sort of extra advantage that you and I don't have. He's just a regular guy with a busy schedule just like us. What he finally had was a recipe that he could trust and someone to walk him through it. That was the only thing standing between him and feeding his dog the way he'd always wanted to. And it's the only thing between you and feeding your dog the way you've always wanted to. By now, you maybe have one thought left in your brain, which is, but my dog is different. Maybe they have an incredibly sensitive stomach and they struggle switching to new foods. Maybe they're the world's pickiest eater. Maybe they're 100 pounds and you can't fathom the idea of being able to afford fresh food for a dog that big. I get it. I have had every single one of those thoughts as well. Start with picky. Remember Harper that I was telling you about? She is one of the most picky dogs that I have ever come across. I mean, when I say picky, we were feeding her a lamb kibble and switched to the same brand, but salmon, and she refused it. But she eats these meals every single day now. Sensitive stomachs are the same story. One of the biggest reasons that dogs get upset stomachs is people transitioning them to a new food too fast. So we don't. We move over about 10 days. If we need to go longer, we'll go to 14, we'll go to 21. We'll go to as many days as we need to safely transition your dog from one food to the next. And you're never doing it alone. You're never left guessing on your own about what the next step should be. And then budget. Here's what nobody tells you about homemade food. It does not have to be all or nothing. You do not have to feed 100% homemade food for your dog to get the benefits of fresh food. Take Pamela, for example. She feeds kibble as her regular dog's diet, and then she adds homemade food on top. I've been making homemade food for my 2 dogs as a topper to kibble. I knew the food I was making wasn't balanced, but I didn't know what or how much to add. You've changed all of that. So picky, sensitive, big dogs, low budget, none of those things are the wall that you think they are. It just means that your way looks a little bit different. And figuring out which way works for you and your specific dog is the whole point of what we do here together. Now, let me show you exactly how this works and everything you get. The first batch is 4 weeks live with me. Every week we get on together and I walk you through it step by step. Finding your dog's recipe, doing your first cook along, building a routine that actually fits your lifestyle. You get all 24 of our recipes formulated by a veterinary nutritionist. So whatever your dog needs, there's a balanced meal for it. You also get a full year of Fairbowl Plus, the calculator that sizes every meal to your exact dog, the transition tool that walks you through the switch day by day, and a community of people doing this right alongside you. In your final week, you bring your questions straight to a veterinary nutritionist in a live Q&A. And every session is recorded and yours to keep forever. Here's the part I really want you to hear. Just getting time with a veterinary nutritionist can literally cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars. A single consult with them plus a custom diet or two can easily run over $1,000. In the first batch, you get recipes formulated by a veterinary nutritionist, 4 weeks of live coaching with me, and access to Fairbowl Plus for an entire year, which is the tool that makes this incredibly easy. All of that for a fraction of what it costs to just get in with a veterinary nutritionist. So here's where we're at. You can keep doing what you've been doing, which if you're anything like me, it's the guessing, the worrying, the hoping that it's right and really not knowing. Or you can spend 4 weeks with me, learning step by step and never carry any of that doubt again. This is the founding cohort of the first batch, and that means 2 things. Number 1, every cohort after this is going to be more expensive than this one. And number 2, there are only 50 spots because I'm gonna be in there live with you every single week and offering daily support in the community board, and I can only do that for a small group of people. Once those 50 spots are gone, enrollment closes and it probably won't open up for about a month or so. So if you've been waiting for the right moment to get this handled, this is it. Come join us and let's get home-cooked food figured out together for good.
I was talking with Kenzie the other day and I was feeding the dogs and, you know, we've been having some just crazy schedules and so many busy days. And I literally was like grabbing a bag that I had already prepared the week before for each of the dogs. I had a bag for Harper, I had a bag for Cooper, I had a bag for Banksy. And I grabbed the bags, dumped them into the bowl, and I was like, oh my God, I'm feeding homemade food as if it's kibble. Like it's ready to go. It's pre-portioned. I know it's complete and balanced. I know exactly how much to feed. And there was just this like huge sense of relief that came over me. It was like I had finally figured out just this little voice in my head of like, oh, it might not be right. Is it balanced? Is your dog gonna suffer from this? Like I didn't have any of that. And so that was one of my big realizations of, oh, we've actually developed a system here that can give people real results. I mean, listen to Natalie. I got this DM a few weeks ago. After many years of internet rabbit holes leading to conflicting information and confusion, your work is exactly what I've been looking for. It feels amazing to finally feel comfortable feeding my dog and to make homemade food without wondering if it's even a decent recipe, worth its weight in gold. That is the exact feeling that I had, which is just like, this relief of, oh my gosh, I actually feel good about what I'm feeding right now. And so the first batch is how we give somebody that. And what's honestly crazy is like, if you go look at the research, 95% of homemade dog food recipes are not complete and balanced. 95%. Like that means if you see 10 recipes, 9 or maybe all 10 of them will be missing something that could give your dog a nutrient deficiency. But what's even crazier is that every one of the recipes that was written by a veterinary nutritionist in these studies was complete and balanced. And that's why we brought in Danielle. And so here's exactly what you get over those 4 weeks. So every single week, you're going to get a live demo or Q&A. So week 1 is going to be me sitting at the desk here with you, showing you how to use Fairbowl Plus, how to find your recipe, how to access the community, and the homework is going to be, okay, find out which recipe you want to feed, go buy the ingredients and the supplements, and then bring all of that to week 2. And then week 2 becomes the first actual cook-along. So sorry, it's kind of messed up here.
There we go. So on week 2, we're going to take the recipe and the ingredients and everything, and we're going to cook our first batch together. I'm going to be making a recipe on the live stream with you, answering your questions, and then when it's done, we'll also have another Q&A where you can ask any clarifying questions. So then after week 2, your homework becomes, you just made the recipe, start your dog on the 10-day transition. Start the first couple days, and then you come to week 3, and week 3 is all about making another recipe. It'll be another cook along, but how do we make this sustainable? How do we do this long term? How do we make it budget friendly? How do we create a system that doesn't take over our life every single week? And then we come to week 4, which week 4 is the big one. That's where we get to sit down for 2 or 3 hours with Danielle, a veterinary nutritionist, and you get to ask her your questions directly. So it's not even just me that you get access to. She's going to be in there as well. Now, this isn't necessarily the cheapest thing of all time. I will be the first one to admit that, but I feel like there's real reason why we priced it at this price. So the first batch is going to be $249 for the first cohort. But if you look at what this would cost to do it separately on its own, it's kind of nuts. So if you just want to get in with a veterinary nutritionist, an initial consultation, you're probably looking at least $300 to $500. If you want to add a homemade dog food recipe on top of that, probably at least another $100 to $200. If you have multiple dogs, you're going to get up over $1,000 just for those couple recipes for those couple of dogs. Whereas with the first batch, you get 24 complete and balanced recipes made by a veterinary nutritionist. You get a year of access to Fairbowl Plus, which is the tool that makes all of this as simple as it could possibly be. It allows you to plug in your dog's information, and it gives you the exact instructions you need to follow. You get the live Q&A with Danielle. You get 4 weeks of live coaching with me. You get daily support in the community. So we really are trying to create this program where, like, if you don't feel confident on homemade food, but you really want to do it, you will leave this program feeling confident about it. That's kind of the guarantee that we make. We also have a money back guarantee. So if you do the first 2 weeks and you cook your first batch and you really just don't feel like this is going to work for you, we will give you your money back. No questions asked at all. So you are the first people to actually hear about this. We've been kind of teasing it to our email wait list. You're the first people that are seeing this live. So this is, it's available right now, technically. I'm not going to stop you, but it officially goes live tomorrow. We'll be kind of announcing it and everything. And the wild thing is there are only 50 spots. Like I said, this is not something where we can bring in 500 people and be able to actually service them how we want to service them. So we're holding it to 50 people. That way we can ensure we can walk those 50 people through this and they feel confident and comfortable with what they're feeding their dogs. So I'll drop the link to this for anyone that's interested. But that is a long-winded answer for why I have been gone the last week, is we have been building this. Drop that in the chat there. I would love to do this, but it's that picky and the fact that she doesn't seem to want the same thing daily. I have considered this. I just hate thinking about wasting more food. Yeah, I totally hear you, Jeepers. The nice thing with this is that you don't have to, like, if you do this program, that doesn't mean you immediately have to be feeding homemade food. So like we said earlier, you get access to a year of the Fairbowl Plus. And so what we actually recommend to people with picky dogs is make one of the recipes at a really small weight. Like, let's say my dog's 40 pounds. I would make the 5-pound recipe and add it as a topper onto their food that they currently have to see if they like it. But that's what we try to do is, like, if dogs are really picky, we have the 24 different recipes to try and give them many different options. So we have beef recipes, chicken recipes, pork, turkey, lamb, tilapia, salmon, venison, even a vegetarian recipe that uses eggs and cottage cheese. So we really tried to go hard and give people as many options as we could, especially for those picky dogs. But that's also the point of the 4-week program, is we will troubleshoot with you. Danielle has some insane tips on how to help picky dogs and different ingredients that you can add. And, like, that's what I wanted to really make sure this program had, was access to a veterinary nutritionist. So people like you could be like, hey,
my dog is picky and he's not eating this recipe. What should I do? And you can get a very real answer. Unfortunately, people still don't value proper formulation like they should. A lot of people are still just tossing rice, chicken, green beans, carrots, and a calcium supplement into their dog's bowl. Yeah, Teacup, and that's like how you get those case studies or those case reports of the 2 dogs that had to be euthanized because they were fed unbalanced homemade food. Like, believe me, I don't do this for my own nutrition. I don't dial things down to the gram. I don't focus on every single vitamin and mineral, but I'm also deficient in many things. Like I'm taking a vitamin D supplement because I'm deficient in vitamin D. And like, I don't know. Even though I don't do that for myself, my dog's eating the same thing every single day. And we have real case studies and real reports showing what can happen if you don't feed your dog a balanced diet. And I'm just like, if we know better, we could do better kind of thing. Oh, that's better. I was hoping to be able to try smaller batches. Most are huge amounts. Yeah, absolutely, Jeepers. You do not have to start all in on this. Like we like to get people baby stepping through this. That way it can be something sustainable. Because if you're just thrown into it and it's overwhelming and you don't feel like you can make it sustainable, you're going to stop. But if we start slow and build you up to it, we can show you how manageable it becomes. Before you switch to Faribault Plus, I bought the prior recipes. Are those still valid, or does Faribault Plus replace it completely? Angela, the past recipes were complete and balanced, but they were formulated by me. And of course, I felt like I could make good recipes, but I will never say that the recipes can be as good as what Danielle can make. So I would recommend using the new recipes as opposed to the prior ones. And yes, all of the new recipes are in Faribault Plus. I'll assume there's supplements that we'll need to get. Yeah, absolutely, Jeepers. What's the best way to show you? Oh, yeah, actually already on the sales page, there's an example recipe. So if you go to the sales page, kind of toward the bottom, you go to the free bonuses section. This will show you that you get the live Q&A with a veterinary nutritionist, and then you get access to a year of Faribault Plus, and this is an example recipe. This is the pork, quinoa, and apples recipe. Actually, one of my personal favorites. That's what our dogs are currently eating. So you have all of your whole foods here: pork, eggs, quinoa, apples, and Brussels sprouts, and then you have kind of the standard supplements that we use in most of our recipes, which is omega-3 fatty acids. We have bone meal to provide calcium and phosphorus, taurine for heart health. So even with our grain-free recipes, like there's never a DCM risk because we are supplementing that appropriately. I'll never say never because DCM also sometimes is not nutrient related, but we supplement for taurine to hopefully help prevent that. Iodized salt to provide sodium, chloride, and iodine. Daily vitamin, this helps provide the vitamin E, the vitamin D, the vitamin C, all these different things that dogs need and is deficient in the recipes. Think of that as like the multivitamin. And then calcium carbonate. This is a second calcium source, but along with bone meal, this helps us really dial in the calcium to phosphorus ratio because that has to be very specific for dogs. So just 6 supplements you have to buy. One of them is salt, which I don't even really consider a supplement because you can buy it everywhere. But we also do the Now brand because we're trying to make them as accessible as possible. And Now is available in many grocery stores. It's available on Amazon. And they have all the different nutrients that we need. So yeah, that's what a sample recipe looks like. Most of the recipes are going to have a pretty similar supplement makeup with different whole foods. But keep in mind, even though we use these supplements, they're tiny amounts. I mean, we're talking teaspoon amounts compared to pounds and ounces of whole foods. So the bulk of these recipes by far is still those whole foods. The supplements are just added on top to fill any nutrient gaps to help prevent those issues like the 2 puppies being euthanized from unbalanced homemade food. I found out about that case report like 4 weeks ago and was blown away. Because like I'm sure many of you, like you hear that food needs to be complete and balanced, but you don't really always know why. But that gives a very real like, oh shit, that's why. Great questions. Oh, and I'm sorry. I literally wasn't even showing you this the whole time. So here are your whole foods. Here are all your supplements.
Yeah, I don't know if I dropped the link to that, but I will. And like I said, that goes live tomorrow and only 50 spots available. Okay, I think it's time to look at Diamond Naturals. Okay, so if you don't know, we on our food review list, excuse me, you can vote on what food you would like to see reviewed next. So as you can see here, we have Diamond Naturals currently being reviewed. That's what we're going to talk about today. But then you can vote on what other food you want to add. So I know some of you have been requesting some food reviews. So just drop the link in there if you want to go vote on what's next. But yeah, let's look at Diamond Naturals. This is going to be the preliminary review. By the way, I'll be sending out an email about that Steve's Real Food recall probably tomorrow. No, probably later today, actually. Diamond Naturals dog food. Highly requested. Let's see what we find. Anybody fed this food, or any guesses as to like what grade we think they're going to end up getting after it's all said and done? Okay, so they have many different lines. Diamond Naturals is kind of the most popular, so I'm going to start with that one. My coworker feeds this to her dogs. Yeah, we have quite a few people in our community that are feeding this currently. Okay, one thing I'm already liking that I'm seeing right here is this AFCO statement. Diamond Naturals, extreme. Oh, I'm an extreme athlete? That's not what I want. Hold on. Adult. AFCO statement. Diamond Naturals adult dog food, beef meal, and rice formula is formulated to meet the nutritional levels established by AFCO dog food nutrient profiles for maintenance. Absolutely love to see that. That means this food is not all life stages. It's formulated specifically for adult dogs, for adult maintenance. So that is going to be some positive points for them, absolutely. Actually, even in our review system, brands cannot get an A if they don't offer an adult maintenance recipe. If they only have all life stages options, they cannot get an A. Commitment to food safety. On-site product testing. Love it. We test and monitor every critical aspect of the manufacturing process, pre-production, production, and post-production. 3,500 mycotoxin tests per week, microbiological tests, oxidative stability, ingredient nutritional tests. Love that. Finished product nutritional tests. Love that. 20 plus hours of employee safety training per employee per year. 1,200 safety assessments per year. Okay, wow, this is cool. Mycotoxin, microbial. And they're telling you what they test for. Aflatoxins are a type of mycotoxin, which are toxic chemicals produced by fungi that can occasionally appear in grains. Before any grains or grain-related ingredients are allowed to enter our manufacturing facilities, they're tested for aflatoxin, vomitoxin, DON, and fumonisin. I don't know what that is. Additionally, we test all finished products prior to release. Microbial testing, they're testing for salmonella,
All topical palatants and probiotics must have a COA and prove to be salmonella negative. I didn't see anything about like Listeria E. coli, but test and hold program. No product is released into distribution without adhering to the strict standards of our test and hold program, in which products are tested by a certified laboratory. Microbiological testing is conducted in laboratories accredited to the international standard ISO/IEC. This is great. This is really, really good to see. They have a ton of testing that they do, and they tell you what they do. So I'm very impressed with that. All right, what else here? Nutritional integrity. We only produce foods we're proud to feed our own pets. Strong relationships with our trusted suppliers ensure we only source quality ingredients. Our foods are developed using our proprietary formulation technology and a team of experts and scientists incorporating the latest research from many disciplines: veterinary medicine, companion animal nutrition, food microbiology, as well as food production and food science. Our formulas are carefully developed to meet the dietary needs of dogs and cats, including many that require specialized diets. We offer small and large breed formulations, formulas with real meat as the first ingredient, all life stages, formulas for puppies and seniors, formulas to enhance skin and coat health, grain-free, indoor and active cat formulas, high protein, specialty diet formulas. Superfoods for a superior nutrition. Superfoods is not a regulated term, doesn't really mean anything. These are just ingredients. Dried kelp is interesting that they include as a superfood because it's usually just used to provide iodine. Okay, what I'm looking for now is like who formulates. Quality assurance. Nope, that's what we already looked at. Charles, welcome in. Good to see you. Whoa, I didn't know Diamond Pet Foods makes Taste of the Wild. Looks like one recall in 2012. Further product testing revealed that no Diamond Pet Foods product was contaminated. Interesting. I feed Diamond Naturals with Purina Pro Plan and your wonderful recipes. Oh, thanks, Betsy. I love that. I was a little not that confident that Diamond was going to score very well. So far, I'm quite impressed. And of course, people know I love Purina Pro Plan. That's what the kibble I feed my own dogs. But yeah, they have a ton of testing that they do, which is really cool to see. This is interesting framing. Are Diamond Pet Foods formulas approved by AAFCO? And no, AAFCO doesn't approve dog food, so it's interesting that they said yes. I'm assuming they're just saying that it meets the requirements. I just think that's funny wording. Nutritional philosophy. No, that's what we already read. Okay, I can't find who formulates. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything about who actually manufactures Diamond. Because even up here in the AI answer, it says it's formulated by an in-house by an internal team of experts and scientists. Their recipes incorporate research from vet medicine, companion animal nutrition, food microbiology, and food science. but they don't say they have any actual experts from those areas. So that's definitely a red flag. Not the end all be all. They're just going to lose some points for that for sure. My vet said it was okay. Diamond Naturals. Yeah, I think they're going to score decent here. Okay, so we have some answers to questions. Oh, and I forgot to check Laura's review too. Hold on. Can't show you all this. Okay, so here's Laura reached out and seems like she got some kind of corporate non-answers. Does the manufacturer employ at least one full-time qualified nutritionist? All of our recipes are developed by a team that includes board-certified nutritionists, veterinarians, research and development, product development specialists, and PhD scientists. Okay, so they name them when they reach out via email. Doesn't look like they have feeding trials from what I'm finding. So I like their testing so far. Red flags, though, are they haven't named their experts publicly. They name the credentials privately in email, but they don't even name the credentials on their website publicly. Don't have feeding trials. But they do quite a bit of product testing. Okay, let me go back to my list here.
And then realistically, you probably just got to look at their marketing now. And I don't anticipate seeing a ton of like shady things because they're a kibble company. I feel like most of the fear-based marketing is around kibble. Yeah, articles about dogs being omnivores. Is it Diamond Pet? What's their Instagram? Diamond Pet Foods. Yeah. No fear-based marketing. My dog's big 3. Yeah, so the marketing looks pretty good. I feel like they're not making a lot of big claims either. Yeah, pretty generic stuff. Okay, so overall, definitely not the worst brand I've ever seen. If I had to guess right now without like doing the full review, I'm thinking maybe C range. Could be bumped up to a B potentially because they do have experts on staff. They just won't name them, so they're going to lose a few points there. No feeding trials, so they're going to lose points there, but no fear-based marketing. Lots of testing. That's also great. So this would not be my first choice for my dogs, but if somebody came to me and said that they were feeding it, I would probably not have any real reservations on it. Kind of seems similar to like Akana, but they don't have feeding trials, and Akana does, which gets them a good amount of points. What are all your thoughts on it? Would you feed this? I know some of you are feeding it. I'm impressed with some things, a little disappointed in others, but overall not that upset with it, to be totally honest. I would not. It's good to know it's not terrible. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat, Charles. There are foods like I'd still probably go for like a Purina Pro Plan first, but up to now, my German Shepherd is doing wonderful with Diamond Naturals. Then Betsy, don't switch. I'd say if your German Shepherd does good on it, it's a pretty tested food. They might not have AFCO feeding trials, but I don't think your dog is going to suffer eating Diamond Naturals by any means. Golly. So all of you are on YouTube. I don't know what your relationship is with YouTube is like, or if you watch it a lot. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. All I freaking see these days is ads for Spot and Tango. Oh my gosh. Every video I click on, it's an ad for freaking Spot and Tango with a different person or veterinarian saying why this is the best food of all time. And I'm like, is it? Because how much are they actually paying you to say that? Because they used to pay us a lot of money to say that. But every video. I mean, let's test it. I'm going to click on a video. Okay, of course, this one doesn't have it. But literally, Or the farmer's dog? Yeah, oh my gosh. Did any of you see that the farmer's dog is going to be in Walmart? Which seems so weird. But yeah, good God. The Spot and Tango just has so much money to spend. Holy shit. One of you signed up for the first batch already? Henlea? Are you in here? Oh my God, is that Angela? Henley A? Angela. You are amazing if that's you that just signed up for the first batch. Welcome in. So excited to have you. It's not even open yet and you're already in. You are officially first one. So I am very excited to go on that journey with you. If anyone's just joining us, we launched a very new thing called the first batch, which is why I was gone all of last week. I'll drop the link to it. But Angela, welcome in. But yeah, oh my gosh. I don't know about you. And it's interesting because I feel like, okay, hold on. My brain's going a million miles an hour. When I see a brand that has a ton of money for marketing, it's a bit of a red flag for me, right? I'm like, okay, how good is the food? Are you spending enough money on testing? Are you hiring experts? Or are you just spending money on marketing? But I also then think about like the original big marketers that went after influencers, which were veterinarians back then, were the big three kibble companies. Like they were also incredible marketers. So there's just something about like the new age marketing that gives me a bad taste in my mouth, probably because I used to be an influencer that promoted all of that stuff. And so I'm a little salty about it, but Angela, seriously, welcome in. I'm so excited to have you. Thank you so much for believing in me. And I'm excited for you to meet Danielle. She's amazing. It's going to be a great time. June 22nd, Angela. Be the first day. Okay, I have a question for you folks that are in the live stream currently. So I love live streaming and I'm going to continue to do it, but mornings are just a little bit throwing a wrench in my day because mornings are usually when I get a bunch of my stuff done. So are there other times in the day where you would have time to join these live streams? I'm considering like 3 p.m. Mountain Time. How does that land for anyone in here? And of course, I would still send out alerts and everything. You would still be notified of when I go live. Also, if anyone's just joining, we had a recall today. Steve's Real Food. So that's 2 or 3 hours behind Eastern. 2 hours. So that would be 5 p.m. your time if you're Eastern. Yeah, 5 p.m. could work for you? Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, 3 p.m. will allow me to be much more, attentive and engaged because I'll have had the chance to get all of my stuff done. All right, Charles. Charles likes it. 3 works better for me. Okay, 3 o'clock it is. So that's going to start tomorrow. I'll send an email tomorrow, but it won't come at 9 a.m. It'll come at 3 p.m. But yeah, starting tomorrow, we're going to try like a 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. kind of live stream situation. Thank you. Thank you for your input on that. Now, that being said, that might be all I have for you today. We're getting back into filming some more short form content today. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go write this Steve's Real Food recall alert, and I'll get that sent out later this afternoon so we can all kind of chew and mull on that for a little. And I'm going to include the stuff about Animal Diet Formulator. If you joined late and you're not sure what I'm talking about, you can rewind or just wait for the email. But there's some interesting things going on there that I have some questions about. Thank you all so much for being here today. Angela, thank you so much for joining the first batch. I cannot wait to start working with you. And you are all amazing. And I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. Mountain Time. Bye, everyone.